Hello everyone, welcome to this concert. So I'm actually recording this on an afternoon in the middle of Dartmoor under this amazing grandmother beech tree, in between light misty rain and the hay harvest. And in fact, we cut our first meadow hay about an hour ago, and this is a bundle from the first line that we cut as an offering to you for your Lammas celebrations, honouring of the harvest. So I want to describe where I'm standing a little, the places you can't see from where you're watching. Of course, this grandmother beech standing here behind me sits in the centre of a ritual landscape that we have created over 25 years, living here on this farm in the middle of Dartmoor. Over here, down in the corner, there is the deer camp, and beyond that, a red deer birthing ground. And this is the time of year when the red deer start to emerge from this little hidden corner with their young, and often we see them moving around the marshes there. Behind me, just in this corner, is the wild horse shrine, and you may be able to see wild horse bones hanging there in the corner. It's a shrine of protection. And then in front of me over here is the bear shrine, the Shaidi. This is an ancestor place. It's been here for many years and is a place that people come to bring offerings in honour of ancestor and ancient memory. And then, of course, down to my left here is our roundhouse, the sacred house, which is the centre of all the work that we do here on the farm and in our creative journeys. So I'm going to start by offering you a song into your laps to honour the Earth Mother. This is Beloved of the Heathered Hills. The river is arriving over waiting stones. She is leaping through the valley. She sings her amber song. She is beloved of the heathered hills. She is beloved of the heathered hills. And the earth will bear her journey, and the sky will hold her dream, for she is beloved of the heathered hills. The raven is arriving up to waiting caves. She is curling through the valley. She sings her dark-winged song. She is beloved of the heathered hills. She is beloved of the heathered hills. And the earth will bear her journey, and the sky will hold her dream, for she is beloved of the heathered hills. The young deer is arriving along waiting trails. She is gliding through the valley. She sings her soft song. She is beloved of the heathered hills. She is beloved of the heathered hills. And the earth will bear her journey, and and the sky will hold her dream, for she is beloved of the heathered hill. The woman is arriving to this waiting fire. She is stepping through the valley. She sings her homeward song. She is beloved of the heathered hills. She is beloved of the heathered hills. And the earth will bear her journey, and the sky will hold her dream, for she is beloved of the heathered hill. 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 I really do appreciate you being here at the concert in what will be your evening. It's challenging, isn't it, during these times to be connecting so much through the digital ethers. But I really am grateful that we've had this opportunity over the last few months to do that, and this evening to be able to connect with you in this way. I'm going to sing a weave of songs now, starting with one that's very old, one I did when I was a very young woman, and then ending up with another that is much more recent. And in the middle, there's a song. You will hear a language which you may not have come across before if you haven't seen me in concert. This is called Proto-Celtic. It's an ancient mother tongue from the Bronze Age, and I'll talk about it a little bit more later on. I'm going to start with Tread Gently. And do sing along if you would like to, and drum along if you have your drum to hand. That would be great, and I will definitely be able to hear you. Drum your footsteps to the sacred mountain. Lay down on the bleeding earth and sigh. Breathe the rhythm of a mother sleeping. Listen to her dream, she whispers, come alive. Tread gently on the earth. Breathe gently of the air. Lie gently in the water. Touch gently to the fire. She bears the scars of our fears and our follies. The dark night hovers and the world sits blind. But the waters flow, the moon is singing. Daughter winds are gathering and hope is high. Tread gently on the earth. Breathe gently of the air. Lie gently in the water. Touch gently to the fire. You she gave you being. She healed your body and brought your soul fire. When our mother wakes, we must awaken with her. We will fade away if we let her die. Tread gently on the earth. Breathe gently of the air. Lie gently in the water. Touch gently to the fire. Nis Kommano, nis diglen brigo, nis wendelego, nis weranoknu, nis Kommano, nis diglen brigo, nis wendelego, nis weranoknu. We are yearning, we are prayer binding, we are pathfinding. We're returning, we are yearning, we are prayer binding, we are pathfinding, we're returning. Nis Kommano, nis diglen brigo, nis wendelego, nis weranoknu, nis Kommano, nis diglen brigo, nis wendelego, nis weranoknu. We are yearning, we are prayer binding, we are pathfinding, we're returning. We are yearning, we are prayer binding, we are pathfinding, we're returning. Nis Kommano, nis diglen brigo, nis wendelego, nis weranoknu. Rhythm of our heels on this granite drum. Circle of our breath through the pulsing air. Cradle of our song as it reaches for you. Peace in our souls when we find you there. Tread and breath, voice and prayer. Voice and prayer will bring us to you. Tread and breath, voice and prayer. Tread and breath will carry us there. Rhythm of our heels on this granite drum. Circle of our breath through the pulsing air. Cradle of our song as it reaches for you. Peace in our souls when we find you there. Tread and breath, voice and prayer. Voice and prayer will bring us to you. Tread and breath, voice and prayer. Tread and breath will carry us there. Tread and breath will carry us there. Tread gently on the earth. Breathe gently of the air. Lie gently in the water. Touch gently to the fire. Tread gently on the earth. Breathe gently of the air. Lie gently in the water. Touch gently to the fire. Tread gently on the earth. I'm going to share some stories with you this evening as well. This one is called Shadow, and it goes into a song called The Mending Drum. Sometimes the earth herself cradles grief enough within her lap that sad songs spill unchecked and pour like drenching rain into the soil. There was a forest hag whose work it was to collect and care for those sad songs, so that all the sorrows laid across the world might endure and become a refuge inside which the lonely, lost and maddened could safely hide. In her tradition, sad songs were a balm that filled the soul, and no one should die empty. Sad songs were a sanctuary for grieving hearts, and no one should have to root among thin, desolate scraps to find some comfort. Sad songs were soft fibres of kindness whispered into silence, and no one should find themselves wrapped too long inside isolation. So the forest hag scooped sad songs onto her gathering stick, stowed them away beneath her many-layered shawls and kept them secure. The protection that she offered was profound, for she was swathed abundantly in woolen plaid, hunched and tucked and folded inside thick coats, bundled over everything. She wore the cloak of winter. But sad songs were not her only harvest, for she also picked up the hidden songs of nature as she walked the forest trails, and the secret songs of quiet creatures moving on the land. She padded through the forest gloom, gathering stick in hand, collecting up the songs sung by dark keening winds and dark murmuring ice and dark dreaming trees and dark sleeping earth. All those she ladled with her stick into the safety of her cloth. She understood the solitary mind of wolf or bear, elk or eagle, and she was intimate with all the lone spirits on the empty trails. A dense, concealing blackness hung around her, offering a safe haven to the subtle and transient energies that she found. This forest hag was heavy with the secrets of the land. And that was not all. She always had a wooden pipe clamped tight between her teeth. She worked at her pipe to create tangled plumes of smoke that blew across the land, serving to veil her tracks and those of all the creatures that she guarded. She used no words, ever, but communicated messages and wisdoms only through the smoke that drifted from her gnarly pipe. All her knowledge of the winter, all the intimacies she had gathered on her stick, all the mysteries of the dreaming forest rose up inside that wondrous smoke. Her smoke bore witness to the sorrows of the quiet land and to the vulnerability of nature. The tendrils curled and twisted to form images in which some clues or warnings might be glimpsed, or the sad songs of the grieving earth. So those who saw them spread out from the forest might know that it was time, indeed, almost too late, to act and save the world. We walk along the forest line, where the great north sweeps to the ground. We fear we lost you long ago. So many trees have grown to hide you from our eyes. We run to find you in the past, and we will seek you through our future dream. Now our pouch carries no more than lonely air, and we do not hear the mending drum. We do not hear the mending drum. We walk across the icy lake where the snow is piled in frozen waves. We thought we heard you through the pines, but the wind has turned the sound to glass. We will sing you out from the dark forgotten past, and we will sing you a future road. This berry pouch needs to be filled, so we may bless the mending drum, so we may bless the mending drum. We walk back to our cooling hearth, where the smoke from scented boughs darkens the heights, and there you wait beside the stones. Did we forget to look for you so close to home? Your lap is the blanket of the past, and your brown earth hands caress the future as it sleeps. You shake sweet berries from your pouch, and now you reach to play the mending drum. Now you reach to play the mending drum. So songs emerge from travels, and over the years my feet and my songs have taken me to many places in the world across this earth, including a lot of times in the Arctic North, which has drawn me there over and again. And within that journey is a sense of memory, of ancient reconnection to ice within our own landscape memory. I'm going to sing you a song now about that. It's called Reindeer Road. Drum is a vessel of the reindeer road. We circle the edges of our drum. We sway to the rhythm of the reindeer road as we cradle its mystery in the drum. On the road to the shrine, dear sisters, come away. Will you not walk with us on the cold Harrow way? Reindeer road always with us, hear the old women say. Will you not walk with us on the cold Harrow way? Way, oh, way, yeah. Way, oh, way, yeah. Way, oh, way, yeah. Way, oh, way, yeah. Our song is a memory on the northern wind. We dream of the snow caught in the song. We long for the freedom of the northern wind as we're carried on the feathers of the song. On the road to the shrine, dear sisters, come away. Will you not walk with us on the cold Harrow way? Northern wind always with us, hear the old women say. Will you not walk with us on the cold Harrow way? Way, oh, way, yeah. Way, oh, way, yeah. Way, oh, way, yeah. Way, oh, way, yeah. Our dance is a spiral in the ancient ice. We find silence at the center of our dance. We lay down our souls upon the ancient ice as we reach for the meaning of the dance. On the road to the shrine, dear sisters, come away. Will you not walk with us on the old Harrow way? Ancient ice always with us, hear the old women say. Will you not walk with us on the cold Harrow way? On the road to the shrine, dear sisters, come away. Will you not walk with us on the cold Harrow way? Reindeer road always with us, hear the old women say. Will you not walk with us on the cold Harrow way? Will you not walk with us on the cold Harrow way? Way, oh, way, yeah. 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 So another travel that happened in recent times, a couple of years ago, was to a remote part of the Bolivian Andes with some sisters to make a prayer for the earth, for Pachamama, carrying with us 1,000 prayers sewn into a wild horse braid that were given by other women, so that we were walking with women's prayers as we came into the mountains. And this song is about the mountain that we found there who received our prayer, Mamai Wikili. Mamai Wikili, oh Mamai Wikili, the many arms of Mother Mountain reaching down to me. Mamai Wikili, oh Mamai Wikili, the belly song of Mother Mountain rolling out to me. Mamai Wikili, oh Mamai Wikili, caressing me. My wikili, oh my wikili. The rivered veins of Mother Mountain spilling into me. My wikili, oh my wikili. The silent bones of Mother Mountain drumming inside me. My wikili, oh my wikili. The ancient dream of Mother Mountain still guiding me. My wikili, oh my wikili. The sacred prayer of Mother Mountain fulfilling me. My wikili, oh my wikili. The sacred prayer of Mother Mountain fulfilling me. So, another song in the ancient language, the mother tongue. So, this Proto-Celtic language, I love it so much, and I've been working with it for about 4 years now. It was archaeologically recreated from the living Celtic languages by stepping linguistically backwards into this previous mother tongue, this Bronze Age language from 4,000 years ago, which began in Central Europe and moved through North and Western Europe and then finally onto these islands. And I love it because it's a bone language. It's a language within our memory. And in that sense, it belongs to all of us who ever wish to take these words up into ourselves. And when I create songs with it, I don't worry about plurals or verbs or, different linguistic niceties. I create songs like threading beads onto a necklace so that the words can take on the full meaning of the prayer of the song. This one is called The Blanket and the Braid, Sago and Sneejo. Kommano, ni sweatito, ni sandewek, snate jabreto, sago and sneejo, sago and sneejo. Kommano, sago and sneejo, Kommano, sago and sneejo, Kommano, Kwakwo, Witsu, Kommano, Kwakwo, Witsu. Kommano, Grenjo soito, Samana soito, Nata soito, Sago and Sneejo, Sago and Sneejo. Kommano, Sago and Sneejo, Kommano, Sago and Sneejo, Kommano, Kwakwo, Witsu. Kommano, Kwakwo, Witsu. We remember all that we have spun, all that we have woven, path of needle to the cloth, the blanket and the braid, the blanket and the braid. We remember the blanket and the braid. We remember the blanket and the braid. We remember all our wisdom. We remember all our wisdom. We remember the magic of our bundles, the magic of our circles, the magic of our songs, all our wisdom, all our wisdom. We remember the blanket and the braid. We remember the blanket and the braid. We remember all our wisdom. We remember all our wisdom. Kommano, Kwakwo, Witsu. Kommano, Kwakwo, Witsu. So I would like to offer this song, and if you know it and you would like to join in to this song to Julie, you're very welcome. Your soul is flying to the weathered edge. These wings will guide you to the weathered edge. We too are yearning for the weathered edge. We'll find you waiting at the weathered edge. The edge is narrow that you must balance on, but your heart is fierce and your wings are broad and strong. Your soul is flying to the weathered edge. These wings will guide you to the weathered edge. We too are yearning for the weathered edge. We'll find you waiting at the weathered edge. You've traveled wisely, your courage knew no bounds. You held your power gently, and you loved the life you found. Your soul is flying to the weathered edge. These wings will guide you to the weathered edge. We too are yearning for the weathered edge. We'll find you waiting at the weathered edge. This land is vast that we will wander through, but every distant track will one day bring us home to you. Your soul is flying to the weathered edge. These wings will guide you to the weathered edge. We too are yearning for the weathered edge. We'll find you waiting at the weathered edge. Your soul is flying to the weathered edge. These wings will guide you to the weathered edge. We too are yearning for the weathered edge. We'll find you waiting at the weathered edge. So I have a new story for you, freshly minted. It's called The Girl at Heart. It is a well-weathered fact that in any assemblage of older women there will always be some who maintain that inside themselves they feel the weight of not a single year beyond their glorious and sensual prime, that despite their accumulation of time and wrinkling, they are really still a girl at heart, and that when all is said and done, you are only as old as you choose to be. Bloodweed generally finds this rather wearisome and believes you're as old as your feet, that like good cheese you ripen perfectly to suit the age you are passing through, and that there are more useful things to be rebelling against than your own physical decrepitude. Why on earth would she want to be a girl at heart when she is most obviously a hag in saggy breast and buttock? In truth, Bloodweed had adopted rather a campaigning stance on the subject, and there are few craws and cronies of her acquaintance who have not benefited from her views about old women who cling stubbornly to their youthful impetuosity and girl-at-heart manner. "Beware of a perky and playful engagement with life," she will huff. "'Tis but a vanity of those who refuse to surrender to the reality of their own bones, more like." She will have none of it, and embraces the nitty-gritty of her ageing body and maturing spirit with resolute acceptance. In all aspects, she is loyal to her older self, a hag at heart, and glad of it. Every morning Bloodweed leaves her domed home, sewn quite beautifully from salted sails and dusty desert weavings, and she walks the narrow path down through oak and tanglewood to wash her skin and her skirts in the wide river. Below the newly unfolding sky she unwinds her knots and braids of grey. In the water's chill she dips her head, and her hair swims like shoals of silver fish around her. She soaks in the wet whisper of the river, and the wild creature murmurs that infuse the land, and the lilting conversations of wind and season. Melody pours through her mind, and her hair dances fast, long tendrils spinning and twisting as they securely attach pieces of song into her head. When she is thus rewoven into the river, Bloodweed hefts herself onto the dry rocks and is ready for her day. This is her sunrise habit, and she is usually undisturbed in her enjoyment of it. Until, that is, the morning when, after emerging from the water, she glimpses another river dipper way down the valley, flickering red diamond droplets and the smallest splash of ripples nudging the bank. Bloodweed is vaguely curious and moderately content to share her patch of the river. She thinks no more about it and wanders off into her busy hours of mending, tending, pottering, pondering, and other purposeful hag activities. However, her beneficent mood quickly dissolves next morning when she arrives at the wide river to find the coppery head of the interloper already tracking through the water like some sort of delighted, over-enthusiastic otter, this time occupying a stretch only a few tumbling pools below her own personal piece of the flow. After some minutes of unnecessarily joyful paddling and ducking, a young red-haired woman smoothly swings her irritatingly lithe and sun-kissed body onto a broad flat stone and stretches out, glinting and naked in the sweet breeze. Bloodweed is not best pleased with this challenge to her customary daily routine, but determined and defiant, she shakes out her snarl of grey hair and steps almost gracefully out of her skirts and into the river. She lays back into the silver shoals that dance around her head, but even with her eyes closed tight, the whisper and murmur of the water elude her fretful mind, and she is far too annoyed to be at one with the soft quivering land. She opens her eyes, then becomes even further agitated, for the red-haired young woman has moved upstream. Now she's kneeling on the rock above the hag, leaning over, gazing earnestly and with joy at Bloodweed, while she's splayed there awkwardly, chill and pale and puckered in the cascading river. The old woman scrambles to her feet in a floundering chaos of water, spluttering and growling at this careless invasion of her mystical moment. But just as suddenly she stops her fuss. She frowns deeply, sets her hands firmly upon her hips, gathers some dignity around her body, peers closely at the young woman, and shakes her dripping head. She is confused, and she is cross. "Well," she says, "this is totally unexpected," she says. "This is most inconvenient and not at all acceptable," she says. "I'm not having it," she shouts. "Don't you understand?" she yells. "I'm really not interested in having a girl at heart. What are you doing here?" she asks. "How did you locate me?" she asks. "Why are you crying?" she asks. "Excuse my rough ways," she murmurs. "Please don't be sad," she whispers. "How do I remember you so well?" And in wonderment, grey-haired Bloodweed reaches out to touch the hand of red-haired Bloodweed, who is blinking through tears and trembling in her anticipation. They stare at each other through a mirror that has slipped out of time. The young woman speaks. "I am here with you," she says. "How I have longed for this," she says. "You are more than everything I've wished for," she says. "I'm beside myself," she laughs. "Literally," she adds. "You have always been my hag at heart." "What do you remember of me?" she asks. "How happy do I become?" she asks. "Why am I still crying?" she asks. "It's not sadness, but awe," she murmurs. "Please don't ever leave me," she whispers. "How do I know you so well?" Their two faces lean close, amazed at both their likeness and their difference, their two pieces of soul pressed together, seeking understanding and comfort in the union. The warm morning breeze wisps through their hair, lightly braiding together the tendrils of red and grey. Then as the sun lifts above the valley, the two women also rise and clothe themselves and walk arms linked up through the oaken tangle to the anciently magical home of Bloodweed the Old, where their conversation unfurls like fresh petals or tiny bird wings or newly discovered dreams, until they have established common ground and anchored it into the truth of their shared existence. Bloodweed the Young adores the dome beautifully sewn from salted sails and dusty desert weavings, and she looks forward to dwelling there some day. She is infused with confidence and filled with inspiration by all she sees and hears there, sitting in the company of the hag she will become. It is a well-weathered fact that in any meeting, reconciliation and convergence between an older woman and her younger self, likewise between a younger woman and her older self, there will be much to sift through and pick apart and get to the bottom of. From such encounters, new wisdom may be carved, not least the realization that, regardless of an old woman's apparent indifference, it might be such that a young woman has a pressing need for this relationship. So the hag must roll with it. The young woman has reached forward into her future life for some bold or urgent reason, and that requires acknowledgement and assistance from even the most stubborn, stony, bony crone. The hag may indeed not require a girl at heart, but the girl may need her hag. And there is more. Grey-haired magic has immense strength and potency. It's magnificent and complete within itself. But add the flicker and zest, the glint and glory of red-haired magic, or black or gold or any colour not laced through with old age, well, then you may have blended together something really surprising and remarkable and even revolutionary. So Bloodweed the Old has been found and claimed by her girl at heart, and honestly, she is glad of it. They do not see each other often, but those mornings are precious to her soul when the red-haired young woman splashes up the river to meet her. Sometimes after Bloodweed the Young has disappeared again through the downstream haze, the hag finds small gifts left on the flat rock, a long-lost silver ring she used to wear around her toe, a scrap of familiar silk, still bright and not yet faded, a photo of someone so eager-faced they could surely once have been a lover. The small gifts from her distant past make her laugh. The young red-haired woman in her imagination causes her to smile. In fact, her manner has become so light that the craws and cronies of her acquaintance have begun to chatter in their amiable way. Well, our dear Bloodweed's changed her tune. Haven't we always said you're as young as you choose to be? Why, she really is still a girl at heart. I'll go to where the wildlands welcome me and the sweet air lifts me free. I'll catch the pale sun to my bones, lone in the deep valleys. I am drawn to the water's misted edge where the raw earth holds me still. I will run to the drum of an untamed song like a horse on the heathen hills. Ho-hee-oh-yoy-yoy, ho-hee-oh-yoy-yoy. My drum is the pride of the raw earth and the gift of the heathen hills. Ho-hee-oh-yoy-yoy, ho-hee-oh-yoy-yoy. My drum is the pride of the raw earth and the gift of the heathen hills. My drum is a horse called Wild Land. My drum is a vessel to be filled. My drum is the pride of the raw earth and the gift of the heathen hills. Ho-hee-oh-yoy-yoy, ho-hee-oh-yoy-yoy. My drum is the pride of the raw earth and the gift of the heathen hills. Ho-hee-oh-yoy-yoy, ho-hee-oh-yoy-yoy. My drum is the pride of the raw earth and the gift of the heathen hills. I'll go to where the wildlands welcome me and the sweet air lifts me free. I'll catch the pale sun to my bones, alone in the deep valleys. I am drawn to the water's misted edge where the raw earth holds me still. I will run to the drum of an untamed song like a horse on the heathen hills. Ho-hee-yoy-yoy-yoy, ho-hee-yoy-yoy-yoy. My drum is the pride of the raw earth and the gift of the heathen hills. Ho-hee-yoy-yoy-yoy, ho-hee-yoy-yoy-yoy. My drum is the pride of the raw earth and the gift of the heathen hills. Okay. This is quite a new song as well. Where We Are Born. We are thorn when we crouch upon the hill, so bleak, so still, so cold. Our roots run down in the ragged rocks, so deep, so hard, so old. We croon beneath the half-moon as she waxes through to full. We are born from the hollow, smooth and dark, that form this ancient hill. We are born from the hollows, smooth and dark, that form this ancient hill. We are willow when we sit beside the stream, so fast, so chill, so keen. We spread our limbs on the mossy bank, so soft, so quiet, so green. We sing beneath the pale sun as she rises through the dawn. We are born from the waters wild and free that carve this ancient moor. We are born from the waters wild and free that carve this ancient moor. We are oak when we stand within the night, so black, so full, so wide. Our arms stretch high in the sparkling air, so sweet, so far, so bright. We dance beneath the stars that slowly turn the world around. We are born from the storms and the rolling winds that shape this ancient land. We are born from the storms and the rolling winds that shape this ancient land. We are fire when we sit beside this hearth, so fierce, so kind, so raw. We drum our path through the heron's marsh, so strong, so clear, so sure. We sing around these embers as they warm our sacred home. We are born from the soul of our mother's songs that fill our ancient bones. We are born from the soul of our mother's songs that fill our ancient bones. I'm going to sing two new songs. One is called Song of Soothing, and that's going into another song called Anchoring Power. Wearied limbs, we are held by our mother's arms. Sorrowed eyes, we are kissed by our mother's love. Tender hearts, we are healed by our mother's truth. Wounded souls, we will always be soothed by our mother's songs. Wearied limbs, we are held by our mother's arms. Sorrowed eyes, we are kissed by our mother's love. Tender hearts, we are healed by our mother's truth. Wounded souls, we will always be soothed by our mother's songs. Wearied limbs, we are held by our mother's arms. Sorrowed eyes, we are kissed by our mother's love. Tender hearts, we are healed by our mother's truth. Wounded souls, we will always be soothed by our mother's song. Do drum along to this one if you'd like to. Power to our tender truth, power to our courage, power to our gleaming hearts, power to our wildest dreams, power to our truth, power to our tender truth, power to our courage, power to our gleaming hearts, power to our wildest dreams, power to our truth. Wala nisan wir janja, wala nisan drutto, wala nis kalnyaglaino, wala nisan wiltruna, wala nisan wir. So we're going to do this as a response song, and I will be able to hear you. So I'm going to sing a line, and you sing the line back. Drumming as well if you have a drum with you. Power to our tender truth, power to our tender truth, power to our courage, power to our courage, power to our gleaming hearts, power to our gleaming hearts, power to our wildest dreams, power to our wildest dreams, power to our truth, power to our truth. Wala nisan wir janja, wala nisan wir janja, wala nisan drutto, wala nisan drutto, wala nis kalnyaglaino, wala nis kalnyaglaino, wala nisan wiltruna, wala nisan wiltruna, wala nisan wir, wala nisan wir. We sing together now. Power to our tender truth, power to our courage, power to our gleaming hearts, power to our wildest dreams, power to our truth. Wala nisan wir janja, wala nisan drutto, wala nis kleino galno, wala nisan wir janja, wala nisan drutto, wala nis kalnyaglaino, wala nisan wiltruna, wala nisan wir. Power to our tender truth, power to our courage, power to our gleaming hearts, power to our wildest dreams, power to our truth. Power to our tender truth, power to our courage, power to our gleaming hearts, power to our wildest dreams, power to our truth. Last time. Power to our tender truth, power to our courage, power to our gleaming hearts, power to our wildest dreams, power to our truth. Power to our truth, power to our truth. Thank you for singing, that was wonderful. So this is my last story to share with you, and this is an old story. I wrote it a long time ago. And then I'm going into a song at the end, which again you may know and you are very welcome to join in with. I wanted to include this story and this song because they are about how we remain true to our experience on the earth, how we take up our responsibilities of caretaking, guardianship, protection of our mother, the earth, and how we keep our faith and hope in the turning of time and the turning of the earth's changes so that we are walking steadily forward in our journey and in our relationship with the mother. Grandmother Turtle. There came an old woman shuffling slowly, walking every day through the city streets. She carried a clay pot, moved her shadow through the crowd, spoke her words into the dust. Every day she carried her whole old vessel through the city. I'm going to start again. Sorry. Grandmother Turtle. There came an old woman shuffling slowly, walking every day through the city streets. She carried a clay pot, moved her shadow through the crowd, spoke her words into the dust. Every day she carried her old vessel through the city, the strange old woman with her cracked clay pot, mumbling through the crowds, feet flapping in the dust. For many hundreds of years her words had been spoken but unheard. She carried them inside her pot and scattered them into the streets like seeds. There were those of us who watched her pass, and quickly we went out into the streets. Our fingers sifted the city dust. We found, we hid, we kept the small clay shards that lay where her feet had shuffled by. Then one day she started walking away from the city streets, beyond the city wall, turning her slow steps toward the forest. There were those of us who marked her going. We stood by open windows and pressed the clay shards to our bellies. We watched her pass out from the city gate away from the crowds. There were those of us who now also left that city. In the dust we traced the footsteps of the woman with the cracked clay pot. The forest opened to receive us, and we walked for the first time in a wild place. Our toes were in the roots, and our arms were in the branches, and we came through the trees with earth smeared on our cheeks. At last we sat in the half-light of a deep forest bower. The old turtle woman was still and silent, her face never moving but for black eyes blinking slowly in the dim light as she waited and she watched. She had sat for a long time with her clay pot, waiting and watching through many hundreds of years. And in the trees above us hung the braids of the old ones, given by the women who had once come to that forest, who had sat with the clay pot, just as we were doing now. Many hair braids were hanging as a curtain about us, and they were gently moving in the breeze. And from a lone tree before us hung the braids of the first ones, 13 white braids bound in ancient rotted rags. They had hung on that tree since before there was a forest, tied there when the first ones had arrived. We sat with the turtle. We waited and watched. We listened in the half-light of that deep forest bower. We leaned our heads against her pot and heard 1,000 whispered prayers. This is our vessel, our beautiful clay pot, our mystery, our memory, our wisdom, and our song. Then we cut our own braids, and we hung them from the trees, and we watched them gently moving in the breeze. We picked up the clay pot and walked out of the bower into the dawn. We sang to all the changes and to the things that stayed the same. We sounded our rattles and we beat drums as we moved slowly across the cold sand. And we came at night from the belly of the sea. We hung our braids on a lone tree, and we held our secret through an empty age. We hid our knowing in a simple jar of clay. And we sound our rattles and we beat our drums. We're moving slow on the cold sand. And we sound our rattles and we beat our drums. We're moving slow on the cold sand. And we're moving slow on the cold sand. And we walked on shards and we swam through flame. We dared to bleed and we dared to burn. And our fragments lay on the deep forest floor in a clearing where our voices drift and call. And we sound our rattles and we beat our drums. We're moving slow on the cold sand. And we sound our rattles and we beat our drums. We're moving slow on the cold sand. And we're moving slow on the cold sand. And the face of the rock was pitted and scarred. The people cried when their dying was hard. But we watched it all through ancient eyes. The circle held as the turtle waters did rise. And we sound our rattles and we beat our drums. We're moving slow on the cold sand. And we sound our rattles and we beat our drums. We're moving slow on the cold sand. And we're moving slow on the cold sand. And we cast our daughters to the flying winds. We gave them up to the crashing waves. And they sailed in their boats to a distant shore. They hung their braids as we had done before. And we sound our rattles and we beat our drums. We're moving slow on the cold sand. And we sound our rattles and we beat our drums. We're moving slow on the cold sand. And we're moving slow on the cold sand. We're moving slow on the cold sand. We're moving slow on the cold sand. So I have just 2 more songs to share with you for this concert. The first one is called Drift and Hollow, and I chose to share this one this evening because it's about how different women's experiences can be on one piece of land, how the earth holds us in so many different ways, and within that it is such a cherished gift to be able to reach through and find the things that connect us and help us to feel similar and related in our humanity, sister to sister, brother to brother. So this is Drift and Hollow. My sister is a hollow tree, a cedar scoured by fierce fires. But still she roots into the land, her fingers graze the western skies. My sister stands at ocean edge and keens the falling of her people. Their stories scattered on the beach. She cannot know how long she'll weep for. Forest of bones, river of tears, in the song of cedar sorrow, bright tides of blood, dark moons of fear. In the song of cedar sorrow, in the song of cedar sorrow. My sister is a drifting tree, pale as lichen, smooth as water, cast wide by weather on the sea, until the western waves caught her. My sister rolls in with the dawn, arriving through the glittering shallows. She sets her feet upon the sand. She cannot know what grief will follow. Forest of bone, river of tears, in the song of driftwood sorrow, bright tides of blood, dark moons of fear. In the song of driftwood sorrow, in the song of driftwood sorrow. My hollow sister walks alone to where her small sweet son is lying. She cuts her braid and burns her drum to curse the cloth that brought his dying. My drifting sister waits alone while her girl child's fevers rage. In vain she calls out to the winds for a ship to bear her far away. Forest of bones, river of tears, in the songs of drift and hollow, bright tides of blood, dark moons of fear. In the songs of drift and hollow, in the songs of drift and hollow. My sister is an echo tree, the sacred dust of ancient sounds. She sits beside the ritual rock, and her body feeds the ground. My sorrow sisters hear her voice where they kneel on the cold sand, while their children rise as hummingbirds spinning free over the wild land. Whisper of salmon, tears of bear, in the songs of drift and hollow, lament of eagle, raven, prayer. In the songs of drift and hollow, We do not carry these tears alone. In the songs of drift and hollow, the echo tree, she draws us home. In the songs of drift and hollow, we do not carry these tears alone. In the songs of drift and hollow, the echo tree, she draws us home. In the songs of drift and hollow, we do not carry these tears alone. We do not carry these tears alone. So I'm coming to the last song now, but before singing that for you, I would like to say some thank yous. First of all, to you for reaching through the ethers to be with me under this amazing beech tree this evening. Here the sun is just beginning to get lower. You can probably see it behind the tree here, and the breeze is swirling around, and we're moving into the quiet of the evening now. So thank you so much for coming in and being here and adding your energy into the music and singing and drumming along. Thank you. And finally, a thank you to Nigel Shaw and Leif Hillier, who have been totally amazing. We have had technical hiccups along the way with recording this concert, and they have been really solid in making sure that it's working and then producing it in a form that can reach you when you come to see it. So thank you, Nigel and Leif. And I'm going to share the Coat of Night, a prayer for you as you move onward through the year with all the blessings of the earth around you. I walk alone beneath the sky. The coat of night is gently falling around my arms, onto my back. This quiet darkness is my protection. Upon my coat I wear the moon, like a jewel pinned to my shoulder, a shawl of mist, a cap of stars. I'm wrapped within their glowing beauty. Beyond my feet, the river drums invisibly across the black lines. The rhythm flows. I dip my hem, my coat washed by the water's journey. A distant owl flies as she sows a thread of song into the silence. I catch her calls onto my sleeve, and then my coat is laced with music. The forest gods the ancient trees that rest between the silver shadows, the color of my coat of night, edged finely by their grace and memory. I walk alone beneath the sky. The coat of night is gently falling around my dreams, around my soul. This quiet darkness is my protection. You walk alone beneath the sky. The coat of night is gently falling around your dreams, around your soul. This quiet darkness is your protection. Around our dreams, around our souls, this quiet darkness is our protection.